All right, Jeff, let's talk some college basketball. Let's bring back Michigan legend, NCAA national champ, former NBA player and current broadcaster Terry Mills. Terry, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. Just trying to figure things out here. I had a nice little drive coming back from Pennsylvania yesterday, but we managed to get that win. That was probably most important, or it'd been a longer drive coming back.
So before the game, the tenor and tone of my first question was going to be, how is this team continuing to dominate? But now after this Penn State game, which they eked out by 1 point due to good defense at the end, what happened? And my second part of that is, why does Dusty May look like he knows something everybody else doesn't know? Because he had a smirk on his face at the end of that game.
Well, I think that he's a big believer in his team. He was looking for some information, I guess some data that would show his team that we still have a long way to go. It's really kind of hard to, I guess, justify or tell a team that's 13-0 and you're beating people by an average of 30, 40 points that we got a lot of work to do, a lot of work ahead of us. But I think he has it figured out, and I think Michigan just kind of figured it out down the stretch. I've seen a couple games like this with TCU and Wake Forest. And he just said that his team just really wasn't playing well. He's looking for that signature, I guess, road win in someone else's venue. Played very well on neutral floors, but in someone else's venue is kind of what he's looking for.
You somebody who has watched a lot of Michigan, a lot of college basketball. What do you look for first when you decide whether a team is really built to win in March, as you were able to do?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, I think with Dusty, what he did was he went through the Big Ten last year and understood that the Big Ten was very physical. So he wanted a much physical team coming into this year. That's why he got Yaks and some of the other big guys, Daimara, and gets us some strength on the inside, and I think it's paying off. I mean, it probably didn't show yesterday with us being out rebounded and pushed around by Penn State, a team that doesn't rebound the ball well statistically. I think they're probably in the latter half of the country as far as rebounding, but they showed different.
So Dusty May is now, after 50 games, is 40-10. After taking over a program that was at a low point. What's it been like for you to watch how he's been able to reconstruct that team?
Well, I believe in him, man. He's a program builder is what he is. And I think everyone kind of, more or less, when I talk to other coaches and other staffs, they're kind of trying to figure it out also. I mean, last year was the pick and roll between the 4 and the 5, 2 7-footers, and people kind of figured, how is that going to work? Coming into this year is kind of like coaches will say, is he done with that experiment that he's going with the 3 big guys? And a lot of coaches kind of felt like it probably wouldn't work. But I'm like, I'm not here to question him. He knows something that I don't know. And now that it's working, I'm quite sure he's looking like a genius right now. He's got it figured out that he's going to play those 3 big guys, and they're going to come through for him.
You use the term program builder. Is that really what it is? And is program building a different definition than when you played? I mean, looking back to 1981 for both of us, not for Jason, is one of the great memories of our lives. More for you than me, because you actually played in the game. But program building back in the 80s was you guys developing together, you guys learning season after season how to play together to the crescendo of what happened in 1989. What Dusty's doing and what coaches have to do now is build a program year by year, like month by month.
Yeah, that is extremely hard, in my opinion. Back when you and I were in school and played, you usually had guys and you had to stick together and you had to figure it out. Right now with the transfer portal, I mean, you don't know what you're going to get from year to year. And for him, he was able to go out and sell. And I think that he just, he told guys that he was actually trying to recruit or get in, that if you're not here to do it this way, then you're at the wrong place. And he was talking about being unselfish. If guys were just coming in here to say, hey, you want to come in here and get your numbers and, get your stats, then you're looking at the wrong place, And I think that that's the way he built this team. A very unselfish team. I said right before the year started that this team is capable of any player leading them on any given night as being the leading scorer, and that's rang true. I don't think you can really key on one particular player on Michigan's team to say that if we stop this person, then we'll be able to win the basketball game. Definitely doesn't work like that. I mean, I just look forward to game after game to find out who's going to be that explosive player and who's going to lead Michigan that particular day.
Curious your thoughts on the Encore product, not necessarily Michigan, just basketball in general these days. You're somebody who's seen basketball from every angle, player, college player, pro, broadcaster. When you look at the game, what feels most different from when you played? And, if somebody says, is college basketball better or worse than it used to be? How do you answer that question?
Well, I think what it is now is a positionless basketball. Back in my day, if you were 6'10", you played inside. You don't dribble the basketball. It's positionless basketball right now. And you want players that can do multiple things, not just I only can use you in this position, I can't use you over here. And I always tell people that because I think I was known as being a stretch 4, stretch 5 in the NBA. I had people come up to me all the time and was like, yeah, man, you really could shoot that ball, man, especially when you're in college. And I said, well, unfortunately, that wasn't the case because I was 0 for 4 from 3-point at Michigan, and I believe all those were desperations. So, I think that's the way the game has changed. He's got a 9-man rotation right now, and he can just plug them in different spots. Look at that last play of that Penn State game. He pretty much had all guards out there except Yaks. And for the life of me, I couldn't understand why Penn State didn't go inside to Nurkic because we couldn't stop him. I mean, he was having his way. But I figured, hey, they said that, hey, we got this far, let's go for the win as opposed to trying to go to overtime.
You talked about how on any given night, anybody can be the leading scorer. How important is it for this team that they're able to check their egos at the door? That it doesn't seem like anybody's giving anything up more so than it is that they're giving other teammates who may have the hot hand the opportunity.
Yeah, that's extremely hard. And, you talk about it all the time. I say it, Dusty said, and it's all about really trying to shut out the outside noise. There's a lot of noise that can separate a team, whether it be friends, family, agents, whoever it may be, to be able to just tell you, hey, you're not getting enough shots. You need to shoot more. They're not playing you anymore. And as a player, you start to believe that and start to listen to that, and it causes division in the team. And that's something Dusty harps on every single day. Is that guys, don't worry about what's going on in the outside world. Just worry about your team. We're playing for the team, and it shows out on the court. And I believe that if a player was to stray away from that, then I think he would stand out. He would really, really stand out. A selfish player on Michigan's team right now, you would stand out like it was like a sore thumb. That guy's just totally selfish right there because he should be passing the ball right now.
Which is fascinating to see in this era of NIL, where, you have people are being recognized more individually while coaches are preaching the collective. I can't imagine the challenge that it is for a coach to say we're all in this together while the guy next to you is making a little bit different money on the same thing now. It's a different situation than when you were there.
Yes, it is a total different situation, and that's why you got to be able to find those guys that are in it for, the overall, the big prize, and that's the win. And I've always felt that way, that if you win and you win championships and you win games, then everyone flourishes. Everyone's going to benefit. And you better believe that if Michigan can win the Big Ten and get to the Final Four, that when all those awards start coming out, some of these players will be amazed about where these awards would go. Like, Roddy could be on all defensive team or 6-man, or this guy could be on a defensive team, because you just can't just say Michigan made it to the Final Four or they're 30-1 or whatever our record may end up to be. and just one player he carried this whole team. That's not the way it's going to be. It's going to be like this was a team, and I think that when we go places, people are very excited to see Michigan play because of their style of play.
NIL has I think changed things. It'll change again next year. It'll probably change again next week.
It's changing by the time we finish this show.
Exactly. Have you thought about? You have to have you thought about like what it would be and how things would have been different with your group back in '89? Would it have still happened, and why? If you believe that it still would have happened, why? What makes it something that wouldn't have changed you guys?
I just don't think it would have changed us just because of how close we were. I think when you get into you can transfer and you can move around to different places. I think that's a big issue in itself. Like you said, with NIL, you're not going to be able to figure it out. And I think there's so many things out there that can cause division of a team that causes a lot of problems. Like just recently with additions of players that might have been in the G League or been here but didn't sign a contract. I don't really think that that's going to work out in a lot of teams' favor, especially if you're trying to win. Because if you look at it for an example of, and I think somebody came up with something, and I was just like, you can't even believe half the things you see on social media these days. But it was like, well, Michigan is looking at such and such player. And I just start shaking my head. I'm like, I know that's false, because why would Michigan want a player? You're 12-0, 13-0 at the time, and you go get a guy from the G League and bring him to Michigan. Now all of a sudden, somebody's minutes are going to get cut, and then that's going to cause division because these players are extremely close. And if one player was to lose minutes because you brought some guy in at midseason that doesn't know anything about this team, it's going to cause some division.
I wonder how many times you stayed up and said, all right, well, how much money would I have made off the jersey number 50? What were you, 52 when you were in Michigan?
Yeah, well, Coach Steve Fisher said I wouldn't be doing this right now that I'm doing on radio. I said, yes, I would, Coach. I love basketball. I love being around it. But he always joked with me and said, there's no way you would even entertain doing anything like this. But I love the game. I love being around basketball, and it just boggles me about the money that these guys are being paid and how they're being paid. Like when we went out to the Players Tournament in Vegas, I mean, they were playing for money like each round. It was like, if you get to the next round, then the team can divide up $1 million.
Jeff hated it. Jeff hated everything about it.
Right.
Well, no, that's not true. I don't hate that the players get it. I hate that the way that the NCAA continues to botch it. And so that's why we always want to have people like you on. Like, we've talked to every level of the sport. We had Ward on the show right before the transfer portal started. And he warned of this, what's happening, the chaos that's now happening. And while it's not basketball at this particular moment, look at what's going on with football. 33% or so of all of the players in college football go into the portal.
Yeah.
And so they should have the opportunity to make money, but there has to be a time where the team matters. And yes, we come from a school that the team is part of a motto. But I don't know if you saw in Washington, the quarterback signed a new NIL deal, and he then went into the portal days later.
And the school apparently is challenging it and filing suit now with the help of the Big Ten.
You know what? That was the topic of conversation as we were driving back, and I was like, well, I don't know what's going to happen now. I mean, this kid goes into the portal, and then you find out, or his teammates had to find out via social media. Right. It's like, you just signed a deal, and now you're backing out of a deal. Man, this is just complete chaos right now about what's going on. And, I thought I heard even last year that it was going to become where it was posted about what each player is getting or what he's making. And I think that once that finally takes off, it's really going to cause some issues itself. So,
so what if you were king for a day, if you were the guy that was running the NCAA, you've been in the position of being a high profile athlete. You've now spent decades watching the sport evolve to what it is. If you had your opportunity, how would you fix it?
I mean, I would have tried to fix it right from the start, and I would have more or less came up with some type of stipend. It wouldn't have got this far out of hand, but number one. When players were asking for money a long time ago, I felt they could have came up with a stipend at that particular time for each individual player, or whether it was revenue sharing or whatever, and shared right down the middle. And these contracts wouldn't be this wild. I mean, what does a player actually really need for, say, I talked to some of my teammates back in that were on a championship in '89. You probably could have got us for a little of nothing because we had everything. You know, I mean, we traveled well, we ate well, training table. We really had a need for nothing. I mean, that would have been literally kind of like pocket money for you to kind of get around. So, I don't really think a lot of players, for say, spent a lot of that money that they have because you're so well taken care of once you hit campus, whether gym shoes, sweatsuits, travel. I mean, you got it all. Training table, you eat around the clock, and that's on the university. So I think with these guys, if they're very smart about it, they pretty much you can just probably bank this, put it in a Roth account or something because you have no reason to really spend it because of how well you're taken care of.
Now you have the opportunity to set yourself up for, give yourself flexibility to make lots of different decisions. I have to ask you, you mentioned Coach Fisher, the '89 team. We have seen in college football, particularly with coach movement around not being there for bowl games. You're somebody who had a coaching change right at the end of the regular season before you guys made the run. Just talk about what that experience was like with the coaching changes, because Jeff and I have gone back and forth about, Lane Kiffin and the coaches on his staff, and are they there for practice? Are they there for a game while they're practicing for a bowl game?
Yeah, that's a tough one there. And, I've been asked that question a lot. And I said, well, we probably didn't have enough since then to even realize what was going on. Bo called us in and he just laid down the gauntlet and said what was going to happen, that a Michigan man was going to coach a Michigan team and Steve Fisher's going to coach you guys. And we kind of thought, okay, well, he's going to take a job next year. He's going to finish up here. That's kind of what we thought. But no, that wasn't the case. So we kind of, had to move on. And a lot has been said. And I don't know, with the social media, we didn't have that type of coverage. A couple of newspapers might have wrote about it. I mean, it probably did go national. But, this stuff is coming from every angle whatsoever. And for those guys to stay focused, it is beyond me. It's special. But I think once you get that group together, I know it's a lot of them as far as on the football team, but they seem to be extremely focused with Ole Miss, and I'm rooting for them. And I told someone, I said, I'm rooting for them because I've been in that position. You kind of feel like maybe you're left out. No one's giving you a chance to win. When you go back to '89, about the chance we might have had, we lost to Illinois that last game. We were really upset because it was parent night, senior night with Glenn and Mark Hughes. I don't think a player even left the locker room probably 4 hours after, maybe 4 or 5 hours. We just sat in the locker room like, this is just unacceptable. So I think we kind of came together at that point. And then all of a sudden we were hit with the coaching situation. And it's one of those things where Frieder called. I can remember getting a call like at 3 o'clock in the morning and him basically saying, he's not going to be there or however it was. You'll understand it later in life, and I do because, he was more or less trying to set his family up. If you kind of figure you might get fired or something might happen and you can move over to another job, then so let it be. I had no animosity against him. I still talk with Coach Frieder from day to day. We still communicate. I understand it was a business decision, but it was a business decision on our end to go out and take care of business. But when you have it where no one is really giving you a chance and it's just a small group of you guys and you got to stick together and you got to write it out, you're going to come together because when we travel, come tournament time, people usually travel with, the cheer team, the cheerleaders, the band, all of this stuff. Well, our first round, they actually hired the band. That's how much courage that somebody might have had in us. It's like, we'll get a band down there, and the band can play the victors. Everybody know the victors, so we'll get a band down there. We can save a whole lot of money. So, but as we started to win and people started to believe on it, of course, hey, everything's going to start to come together.
Everybody loves a winner.
Yeah, you got that right.
You say that over the course of time, you know, Bill Frieder said to you, someday you'll understand. At the time, did you understand? Because when you hear the Michigan football players, it's a different situation. We don't need to go into it in detail. But the players themselves said they felt betrayed. And they seem to have come together, at least the ones that were decided to stay. And they had somebody in the room, as far as a coach in Biff Poggi, who was caring for them. Did you go through that same experience? Did you feel betrayed? And was Steve Fisher the right guy? Would another person not have been able to bring you guys together and care for you in the way that you needed?
Well, I'm going to say he was the right guy simply because he was our voice, and he ran a lot of practices. We would always hear him, you know, whether he was fussing or whatever it was about you didn't do this or that. So that was a common voice that we heard all the time. It wasn't like in their situation, I don't know what their situation is, where maybe you're hiring somebody that used to be a manager and now all of a sudden he's running the team. I think a big part of that was probably being able to come back, former coaches come back, Weiss come back. I think Weiss was a big help for them to be able to come back because that's a familiarity with the offense and things of that nature. So I love what they're doing, and like I said, I don't think we were probably a little bit too stubborn to really understand what was going on in 1989. But as you kind of see it play out in person, and it's kind of like, you know, I see Lane Kiffin going to the airport, and they're pretty much wanting him out of town. They're running him out of town. You know, it's like, man, what is going on here? And I mean, it's just day to day. It's like, well, he wanted to come to the game, and then I heard they didn't want him to come to the game. Well, you know, I guess it was the opposite with Coach Frieder, because he was probably staying in the same hotel we were in, because he would call every night that we played. He would call before we played and just say, well, hey, you got to worry about this guy. You got to play him that way. You got to do this. So he was there from afar, but he was always making sure he was being seen, that you know, he wasn't going to separate him from his team, per se. I mean, even though that Coach Fisher was running the show at the time, and I don't know what their whole situation is, per se. I can't say whether Kiffin, I know he's probably talking to some of his coaches that's going to come there, but that's just a difficult situation. I would love to see a lot of that changed as far as the NCAA is concerned, about moving some things back. Where you actually give people a chance, because I mean we're in a business now of everyone wants to speculate one way or another about this guy or what's going on or what's happening. And believe it or not, I mean, that takes effects on players. I mean, a lot of people may not think that, and that kind of goes along with that outside noise that Dusty's talking about. You may not think that it's affecting them kids, but it is. So, and we didn't have to be around it because we didn't have cell phones back then. We didn't have social media. You know, it was just more or less.
Thank goodness, huh?
Yeah, thank goodness. I mean, that probably helped us in a way that we didn't have that, because you could have 100 different stories going on, and you know what's going to happen, and
you wouldn't want to be hearing from all those people. You just want to go make
you
your
don't
run.
want to hear from them, and then who's to say that this guy might say, yeah, I'm leaving, I'm transferring, I'm out of here. So you don't know where guys' heads are and what's going on with different situations. But I think that those guys, from a coaching standpoint, I would have loved to see them be able to make a decision about what they want to do after it was all over with. Okay, if Kiffin says, I'm leaving, he shouldn't have, but he did. But I think that they kind of want to look at things time-wise. Well, this is when this opens up, so they got to have a coach in place, and then it's speculation. Man, that's just a mess. I'm glad that we didn't necessarily have to go through that. It was just kind of a heard through the grapevine type of thing. If it wasn't in print or in news, I think when we got started, it was like, Fisher's going to be the coach. And then I think we started hearing that, well, he's going to hire Pete Gillum after this. And it's like, everyone is like, well, who is Pete Gillum? I don't even know who he is. So I'm quite sure that everybody would have made a right or a left turn to go in a different direction, but we ended up playing Xavier in that first round. And okay, well, we know who Pete Gillum is now, but we actually beat him. So, yeah, it was just a strange time during that whole situation. But I wouldn't change anything. I mean, it was a championship, and I always tell these guys today, championship brings a brotherhood that will never be broken. All of us are still close. Communicate with Glenn, Mark, Sean Higgins. I see all these guys on the road, in travel, or whether they're coming to the game, scouting, different things. And we'll all come together like once tournament time really starts. We'll all get on the Zoom and we'll all go to reminiscing, and everybody got a different story about what happened and what didn't happen. So it's always fun times.
So that team, we didn't expect a national championship out of you. You were really good, but there were a lot of good teams that year.
Right.
Looking now that you're covering and watching minute by minute this team grow, do you see something special beyond they're undefeated at this point? Do you see a championship team?
Give Jeff something good to dream about.
I do, and one of the things I said about this team, I was like, this team is not going to break a whole lot of individual records, but they're going to shatter a lot of team records. And those team records are starting to come down, and I'm hearing ridiculous type of stuff. Like my partner, Brian Bush, he'll come up with, he broke the record that was in 1953. I'm like, man, what do you mean 1953? I mean, Michigan's been around a long time. And for these guys to be touching records like that, I mean, Michigan's been around for a long, long time. And, it's just a special team, and this team has me bringing back more memories of that '89 team than any other team that I've been around. Beeline has had some excellent teams, but this particular team is giving me those memories. You know, as we went out to that Vegas tournament, that players tournament, it was more kind of felt like an NCAA tournament, and they beat somebody. I don't know who they beat. Were at the time they beat everybody by 20, 30 points.
Yeah, I know. I got a bunch of text messages from Jeff while it was going on.
And I kind of had a feeling like, oh man, this is what it felt like during that time, and it automatically took me right back to that Virginia game when we played Virginia, and we beat Virginia by like 30, 40 points to go, to the Final Four. And it was kind of like, man, is this how this felt at this particular time? Kind of felt like a dominant team. So it's just amazing about this team. It's like they just continue to knock down records. It's like I think we had the record for the most in a row of 100-point games. Well, they shattered that. So it's just those team records that they're breaking, and they're just well put together. And I look at a team. And you always hear the word, and people always say, well, this team likes each other. This team here really genuinely likes each other. Got in a hotel. I mean, these guys all get together and they'll play cards. They'll do different things, together, where you might hear someone say that, well, this team is close, but you got 3 or 4 over here. You got 5 or 6 over here. I mean, this team right here really genuinely do a lot of things together. And that's how that team was in 1989.
Did they go ice fishing together?
You know what? I don't know what the story of. They went on some type of little camping retreat or something. I don't think it was ice fishing.
Your invite get lost, Jeff? You didn't.
Yeah, I don't think it was ice fishing. Unless Will Cheddar was involved in it. Will's my guy. I mean, we've been talking about going fishing together for the last 4 years and haven't got it done. But I promised him we'd get it done. So.
All right. Well, we'll let you go soon so you can schedule that ice fishing. But I wanted to go back to something you said about Bill Frieder, because it struck me as something I had never heard before. But you guys were still talking to Bill Frieder after Bo said goodbye?
Yeah. Well, look, he recruited us all. So, and I don't think he had a bad relationship with anyone. It just took us out of nowhere. I mean, we just lost the game, but we didn't feel like we kind of, hey, we weren't going to the tournament. We knew we were going to the tournament, but we were just upset by the way that game had ended. So it's like, man, how can we lose this way on senior night? It's like And one of my always sayings is like, you might lose a lot of fights, but to lose a fight in front of your mother, in front of your mother's house, you just got a little extra, there, you might get beat up down the street, but if that fight comes down to your house and your mom's there watching, you got a little extra fight. So,
So did you consider him supportive through because that's something from the outside as somebody who obviously wasn't part of that team, although I was I was at that Kentucky game, by the way.
Okay.
Because it was in Lexington,
Yep.
the game against Virginia. People don't look at Frieder in a way that maybe they should. And so to hear that he was supportive through your run for the playoffs, I think is something that might change kind of the perspective of Bill Frieder a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, like I say, he was very supportive. And like I say, a lot of us still have a relationship with him. Continue to have conversations with him. Those conversations could last a long time because he's going to ask about every single person. We had a golf outing with Steve Fisher for his son, Mark, who has MS. We do it every other year in Ann Arbor. And he told me that Coach Frieder wasn't doing too well. And I said, well, I'm going to give him a call when I leave the golf course. Well, the golf course was about an hour and a half. Called Coach Frieder. He didn't answer the phone. Called me right back. And he talked to me for about 2 hours. So my whole ride home, I had to just ride around a little bit more because of the conversation we were having. Sharp as a tack, memory like no other. But it was good to talk to him. And like I said, we continue to stay in touch. It's not an everyday thing, but a couple, once a month maybe, or every 2 months. His wife has always been very supportive, Janice. And they're just people that, we kind of feel like they were family, and they're always going to be that way.
Just last one from me. I have a March Madness question. I love March Madness. I love bowl season. I want to protect these things that I love so much.
Right.
Jeff gives me a hard time with players opting out of bowls now, and are they going to play? And are the coaches going to be there? What do we have to do to protect March Madness from the chaos that's going on around it, from infecting the magic that it brings for those couple of weeks that we're playing basketball?
Well, I don't think we would necessarily have to worry about that as far as March Madness is concerned, but I would think that some of the other tournaments, whether it be the NIT or those other type of tournaments, the guys would probably opt out of there. But I think it's everyone's dream is to play in March Madness. I mean, that's just the goal is to play in March Madness, and that's what you look forward to. So I think we're protected as that. I don't think that they should try to change the format. I've always heard of they want to expand it. They want to do this or that. I don't think they should do that. I mean, I think with football, they should have probably done this a long time ago because it's very, very entertaining with these 12 teams in there. And I don't know if they need to find some format about who gets in or who don't get in or whatever. But I mean, they'll get all that figured out. But I love March Madness. Kind of in love with college basketball. I wouldn't rather be nowhere else but around college basketball. I watch a little professional, but my heart is with college basketball because I kind of know what I'm getting, and you know what you're going to get from night to night. Where with the NBA, you don't know. I mean, you could buy a ticket, and your favorite player may not play. So it's one of those situations.
Yeah, we got the Sixers here. We're well aware of that.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good at all. So, I think that it's in a good place. I think that they just got to be able to find a way to fix that NIL. And I hear Coach Nick Saban, who has a lot of great ideas. I think at some point in time they need to get a guy like him on a board or something where actually he can make decisions. Because, I mean, it's really not that hard to just push things back so you don't have these distractions that you have. But they'll continue to have them. I hate hearing them because, I mean, sometimes that affects, different things. And I know that, from a media standpoint, you got to get that story out there and you got to have this and that. And, just leave it alone and let it play out and then let these guys enjoy the moment, like with Coach Cincinnati right now. they're talking about him possibly going and coaching the NFL. Like let him enjoy the moment right now with these players, or because now all of a sudden you start getting in these players' mind that the players start thinking, well, coach ain't gonna be here next year, so maybe I need to be start thinking about looking somewhere else or whatever it is. Just let them enjoy the moment, if you will. I know that we want things done now, and we want to be ahead of everyone, but let's just enjoy the moment.
Yeah, you're not the guy to ask about load management. Although someday we'd like to ask you because if I recall correctly, 6 years you played 79 or more games. So load management wasn't exactly high on your mind, was it?
Yeah. Load management and out of position. I had the guys like Shaq, so it's like, oh man, you talk about load management. Yeah, I'd love to take off a day like that. So, yeah, I mean, just a different era. When you talk about load management, and I think you want to play as much as you can. I mean that's what it's all about. You got to cherish that. If you can get to that level of being in the NBA, why wouldn't you want to play every day? I mean, that's the pinnacle. You reach the top,
And that's what old school sounds like.
Yeah. You reach the top, man. Ain't no such thing as that. And it's like when I see certain guys get hurt, and it was like, I've played hurt. Well, I think we all played a little banged up or beat up, but it's kind of like, man, I'm gonna go out here and give it what I can right now. That's just the way it is.
Terry, you've been really generous with your time, but you're a generous person, and I don't want to take advantage of it, but I do want to give you the opportunity because you did talk about Steve Fisher's charity, and part of our show is giving people like you the opportunity to talk about how important it is to use your platform. And so, tell us what that's like and how important it is.
Yeah, it's very important. Well, his son, Mark Fisher, he has MS. Well, I knew Mark when he was born because, I mean, that was around the time that he was born. And, Mark was into coaching, and he coached at San Diego State with him. And, Coach Fisher does an excellent job making sure that the Mark is taken care of. And so we decided to get together as a team. And this is just not just the 89 team. This is for everyone to come back for the University of Michigan that might have played basketball. And we try to do a little fundraiser. We haven't opened it up to the public necessarily. We'll do silent auctions and things of that nature. I'm sure if we opened it up to the public, it would probably be something ridiculous, but we haven't got that far with it yet. But
Jeff would probably fly to Michigan.
Yeah. And then Coach Fisher, he comes in town. We'll have a, banquet the first day, and second day we'll go out and play golf and take plenty of pictures, and everybody will tell their stories. It's just a good time, and it's a good cause. And hopefully Mark can make it out one day. I know it's tough for him to travel, but I did get an opportunity to see Mark when I think we played in the same region with San Diego State. So I had an opportunity to see him and talk to him. So all those type of things are very important to me because I know what he meant to us, especially knowing when he was born, during that time. Can remember him being like a ball boy or just being around. And it was a special time. I'm quite sure there's pictures of Coach Fisher on the front of the paper holding him after the championship, but quite sure he probably doesn't remember it, but I'm quite sure he could look at those pictures and understand what went on at that time.
Terry Mills, we can't thank you so much for the time. We love the conversation, and I hope to catch up with you again soon, man.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. Anytime, man. Love this conversation, man. Reach out to me anytime you can.
Sounds good. Have a great day.
Appreciate you. Take care now.